What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review. Today, we are doing a Grea VOD review. If you guys haven't seen me VOD review Grea before, Grea is, I would say, it's hard to pin down Grea. You could perhaps say one of the most talented players in North America, but it also, the question is, how do you define talent? Grea is somebody who climbed to rank 1 North America with an insanely low amount of games played. If you looked at, him when he hit rank 1, he was sitting around like 300-ish games played, and all the other people around him were like 700 plus, 1,000 games played. So a very, very efficient climber. But I don't think that's necessarily because of talent. I think it's also just because of like putting work in, studying the game. And this is also a pretty cool lobby. We have Spencer in here as well. I think maybe Grea and Spencer are duo queued together. So it's nice to get some solid players in the lobby, especially when we're on PvE, where usually it's just a bunch of random people. But yeah, Grea also played a comp this game that I'm really, really curious to see how he played it and what he played. So yeah, all right. Nocturne, Guillotine, Cluttered Mind. Looks like we're going to reroll those pretty immediately. We are looking at a new augment called Investment Strategy. Your champions gain 8 permanent max HP per interest you earn. And you have to remember that we are in a Scuttle Puddle portal, so we're going to have a lot of just natural interest, a lot of gold to work with. And I think, the cogs are turning, and Grea says, you know what? I'm actually, based upon this, going to know that I have all this extra econ, so why not just take this augment, put 2 Quicksilver units or Quickstriker units on my board, and play Quickstriker Reroll, which is a really, really cool idea. It's this is a comp that I think a lot of people have been very, very low on, honestly. They said Nocturne is one of like the worst, most useless units to reroll, that he just does nothing. But Grea sees a spot for it, and he's going to go for it. I think this is exactly what TFT is all about, seeing these type of spots and saying, you know what, maybe it's not the maybe this comp is not theoretically like optimal. It's not like a broken comp, but maybe this is the exact spot for it. You get a bunch of extra tank stats onto a unit like Nocturne, and maybe he can actually pop off. This version of Nocturne is pretty cool. He is that version where he's doing his like passive from League, where he like slashes a bunch of units around him. So a pretty sick unit here. You can see when he casts, he goes very, very, very cool version of Nocturne. I know when I first started TFT, because I really started playing in like set 5, there was an assassin Nocturne that was this version, and I don't know, I'm a fan of it. I feel like they really nailed the unit design this set. Also interesting to see what units Grea is thinking about playing around this Nocturne. Right now he's playing these Sentinel units. You do ideally want to find these units faster than sooner rather than later, because every round that you have these units in, they're stacking up. This looks like it's going to be the board that Grea is playing towards. This idea that you're going to play 4 Quickstriker. You can fit in almost Rebel pretty easily with the Irelia. You can also get Sentinel with Loris, which pairs well with Twisted Fate, which is an Enforcer. And then the only thing is you have to figure out what your last Rebel unit is going to be here. He throws Garen on the board, right? Which doesn't seem correct, because that would be 2 out of 3 Emissary, so I'm not sure exactly. But I don't know. I assume at some point we'll figure out getting a last Rebel onto this board for Akali. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, overall, the opener, fine. We made that BT slam. We have a bow and a glove open. Another question is just like, what do you want to do itemization wise in this comp? You can obviously go for stuff like Gwinsu, but Quickstrikers are getting so much attack speed that some people are like, well, do you really need a Gwinsu? You have glove open, so we could go for something like Quicksilver, which is of course attack speed, and it's the ability for you to not get CC'd. He's actually going to pick up the sword here, which is interesting. I'm not actually sure what this is, because we've already made the BT, unless we're making like a GS or an IE or something here. I mean, maybe he wants the IE for Nocturne's ability to crit. I don't know. I'm curious to see. Obviously, early on in the set, I have no clue what Nocturne BIS is, and I don't think anyone 100% has, knowledge of what BIS is, and we're gonna have a lot more data once true stats end up coming out, once we have like a lot better sample. But for now, I'm interested to see. It looks like he's picking up the sword just to hold on to it. I wonder what that could be for, because we've already made BT. If it's not IE, I don't know. Edge of Night, I guess, could be the idea, that he really wants Edge of Night on the Nocturne to make sure that he can drop CC. Perhaps that's the reasoning behind Sword. Well, only time will tell here. But I mean, a pretty solid 3 loss here. We'd actually prefer to continue to lose here, especially. But ooh, it looks like, yeah, there's another player in our pool. Was that Spencer, or was that someone else? In any case, there's someone else in our pool looking to grief us, which is pretty bad, because we really want to keep these units on the board. Yeah, it is Spencer trying to wait. Spencer, such a troll, like goes to pretend to grief just to try to make Grea lose some HP, but then decides to swap it back. This board is actually looking like a fantastic loss for us. Only 3 units, 82 HP for loss is really, really nice. That's a lot of HP to work with. I mean, every round we're killing a few units. Ideally, we would have 5 lost, but you know, I think you can be pretty happy in this spot here. And yeah, just making sure that we're making 50 gold every round, getting all these tank stats. There is a prismatic version of this augment that means you can make that allows you to make up to 70 gold in interest, which is really sick. I took that and had a crazy game on it playing around like Kog'Maw reroll, but yeah, I mean, it's a fun augment to. I mean, any augment that like enables reroll like this is fun, and ones that encourage you to like save all your gold. It's always fun to be greedy. All right. And now is kind of like the moment of truth as far as Nocturne itemization, because there's a million different things we could go for. This is really going to show Grea's priority towards Nocturne itemization, because you could, if you want to make the Edge of Night, there is like Edge of Night, you go Last Whisper to get Armor Shred. You could even go IE if he really wants to go something like IE. There's even like Titan's Resolve if he thinks that's a really solid item, and then you would have to kind of go IE at that point. Even Deathblade is an option. So like I said, I do not know 100% what Nocturne priority is from items, so I really, really want to know what he makes here. He is going to go for the Edge of Night, so that was the prio here. And then I imagine, well, we'll see. I don't know. It could be GSTG, I guess. I was thinking more like Last Whisper, though I don't know how good IE is on the Akali. And okay, so he is just going to go for the GS here. Nocturne, obviously a melee carry, so he's going to be very front to back, so we just want as much damage as possible on him. Going to lose another fight, but hey, at least we're stacking up our units. And since Nocturne's a 2 cost, I imagine we're going to go 6 here, roll down for as many 2 costs as possible. Next augment here, though. I'm the carry now. I mean, this is actually kind of interesting because the Golem, I think, is going to get extra HP, which seems kind of broken. The downside is that, you know, this augment, the one we already have that's stacking up HP, really wants us to make the strongest units that we can, and this actually kind of like gets a little bit out of that. It puts another unit onto our board, and Quickstriker is a very selfish trait, right? There's not really much they're doing for the team. Piercing Lotus, if crit is valuable on Nocturne, this could be solid. It does also give that the Tread and Sunder that we don't currently have. And then Bronze for Life, probably not with like a reroll comp like this, because it's not likely that we're going to be pushing levels really, really quickly. And yeah, he's just going to grab the Piercing Lotus here, give the ability for Nocturne to crit, pick up a Loris pair here, going to roll down, just trying to pick up all these upgrades, get the TF in. The big thing when you're playing a comp like this, when you have an augment like this, especially, you need to get these units in ASAP. You want to have the Aurelia on your board. You want to have the Loris on your board. You want to pivot as quickly as you can into the board that you're going to play at the end of the game, because every single round these units are on the board, they are stacking up extra HP, which is, you know, what you need to play for this game. That's our win condition, is having an insanely tanky Nocturne here that can just farm the entire board. You can see maybe a little bit here why people aren't the biggest fans of Nocturne, but still, you know, 1100 damage is respectable in some ways, but you know, we still haven't gotten to like a Giga Nocturne yet. Gonna continue to roll down here. Has an Ezreal 2 that he could buy, but yeah, I completely agree with this decision just to not even make Ezreal 2, just because, like, yeah, are we really even gonna play Ezreal down the line? I find, but like, I guess the question is there a Rebel that like fits better than this Ezreal? I mean, I guess this is fine, but I think at the end of the day, be it Ezreal, be it Zoe, I don't think it really matters. It's just a Rebel on this board. I guess it'll be Alawi later, right? I'm not sure why it doesn't have Alawi in Planner, but Alawi's Sentinel, which would make playing 4 Sentinel a lot easier, and we don't really need another carry. So imagine that's what we're gonna see, but who knows? All right. Gloves open here, so we're just gonna pick up a tier here. I didn't actually see what unit that was on because I looked over to the right to my OBS, but if it's on something like a unit that we really care about, there was an Alawi with Glove if we really wanted to pick up an Alawi. And wait, is that what we... Oh, no, we got the Ambessa. Okay, well, that's fantastic. That's the 4th Quickstriker. This is also Hodge. I mean, this is beautiful. It's the Ambessa is really big. Also picking up a Nocturne, too, here really fast, actually. I mean, actually pretty slow in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, from where we were pretty quickly, but this is fantastic, okay? Ambessa, this is going to allow Ambessa to start stacking up, which is really important. Also, note that he's putting Ambessa in the 3rd row, because she starts off in that, that kind of stance. That's what I'm thinking of. She like swaps between 2 stances essentially, and she starts with a range stance, so you might as well put her in the 3rd row, let her walk up, not, you know, get 1 tapped at the start of the fight, especially because she hasn't stacked up that much HP yet. But yeah, it's interesting. It really seems like he's thinking about like a 4 emissary board eventually. He's holding on to the Nami and the Tristana. I just don't really understand how it fits all. I mean, you need 3 more. Like, I think this board that he has fits beautifully. You know, you have the Enforcer in, you have Sentinel in, and then a Rebel added to this board looks really easy. I don't know how he would really get to 4 Emissary unless he gets like an Emissary +1, which I don't think actually exists at all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that just straight up does not exist. So I don't think that's happening. But hey, we've been stacking the HP this entire stage. The entire game, really, a ton of extra HP onto this Nocturne and this Akali, and soon we're gonna have to make the decision of like when we want to actually start sending it. We have a lot of TFs, which is kind of unlucky. We'd rather absolutely have more Nocturnes than TFs at this point because we have no items for TF here. Pick up a bunch of tank items here, though maybe we can do something onto Akali, have an even Shroud that could potentially get made. That's a couple of Akalis, which is pretty good, so now we're catching up a bit. He is going to put the Alawi in here with the idea being that getting Rebel in is more important than you know, keeping the Loris on the board. And so, okay, this is going to be his board. TG onto the Ambessa, and then Quicksilver made onto the Akali, just to make sure that she can get so many casts off, all these abilities off. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Then he has these components open. Looking like he might even go for another Edge of Night, potentially, but we'll see what he ends up going for. But Quicksilver makes a lot of sense onto Akali. And yeah, I mean, 6 Akali is looking pretty good. All right, last augment here. Rolling for days looks actually really, really nice because we're a little bit low on board strength, and these augments are going to scale really, really well once we hit our board. So just something like this looks fantastic. Pandora's Bench is solid as well, but it's just like this late. I think Rolling for Days is actually going to do more. Bulky Buddies is kind of awkward to position for. Yeah, I think this makes perfect sense. Now we can just send it. There's a lot of Akalis that we're hitting, which is fantastic. He's going to hold on to the Garen, so his idea must be that he's going to play for some of this stuff. Going to have to sell some of these guys now, unless... Wow! Okay, so he's going to go 7 here. This is his idea. This is the board that he really, really wanted to play for, and he cuts out a lot of other stuff here. Wow, that's a really, really cool pivot. The idea being, you know what? I don't care about Rebel. I don't care about this stuff. I'd much rather play 4 Emissary. It must be that, in his opinion, 4 Emissary does a lot for this board. Obviously, the Armor Mar is really, really nice with all these units with a bunch of extra HP. Also, the Garen scaling up HP and then scaling that HP onto other units is nice, though we are pretty low econ at this point. We do kind of have to send it down to at least 10 every round. And yeah, he's just going to send it straight to 0 here. Picks up the Akali. Still 1 off the Nocturne, but pretty close. And 2 off the TF. Awkward spot, but okay. It shows that this is the board that he, you know, wanted to play for. He also ends up moving the Nocturne over. Garen is such a funny unit because like he gives these units extra HP, but this means that like they're tanking instead of him. He's like a tank, but he's actually like I don't know. He's such a selfish tank. He like wants the other units to tank for him. But okay. 31 HP though. Hopefully we can turn a corner pretty soon because this is looking really scary. Is an Edge of Night on Carousel if we want it. Also, you know, like an Even Shroud if we want to prioritize that. I imagine, yeah, based on his items, that this is going to be Edge of Night. So yep, gonna pick that up, throw that onto Akali, and have the double Edge of Night set up. That does actually kind of counteract a little bit of the downside of Garen because they'll drop aggro with Edge of Night. The aggro will go onto the Garen, and then he'll feel a little bit better about that. But yeah, sending it to 0 every round. Finally picks up the Nocturne 3 just in time here. So now let's see what this board can do. Nocturne 3, Akali 3, 4 Emissary, 4 Quickstriker. He's actually frontlining some of these other... Okay, yeah, I don't know about frontlining them. I mean, I don't think they're really doing that much. You know, there's 0 utility coming out of the Nami. She's just damage and not that much of it. But I mean, like, if you put those units in the front line, I think it can actually mess with your aggro a little bit, which is not what you want. You'd prefer them to aggro into your Edge of Night units, have them drop aggro. The enemy units end up aggroing onto the Garen, and then you'd be pretty happy. On first death, revive to full HP, gain 50% attack speed and 20% Omnivamp, but lose 12.5 health each second. Wow. I mean, that seems pretty solid, right? You just throw this onto... I guess I'm curious who he cares more about. I imagine it's the Nocturne, but it's basically like another entire... How does this interact with Edge of Night? You get another full Edge of Night proc? I mean, that would be insane if that's the case. And if that's the case, then it's even better. But I guess we're going to see here, doing a quick scout on Spencer's board to see he's playing around this Draven unit, who is pretty broken. We're going to see, by the way, there's supposed to be patch notes coming out. Maybe by the time you watch this, maybe there will be patch notes out for the final PBE patch, which is it's actually kind of like an A patch on live, they call it, which is like a patch before the patch comes out. It's weird, but you know, TFT is a global game. They have to localize augments and all that kind of stuff, so they have to lock things, and then there's different phases of like, okay, we've decided that these are going to be, you know, what everything says, but then, you know, they decide on things past that. But yeah, I mean, this Nocturne, I honestly want to see this Nocturne die so we can get a sense for how this anomaly interacts with his itemization, because if you get double Edge of Night procs, like, that's insane. There's another Ambessa, which is really, really nice as well. And we got the triple Edge of Night here. We just need the 4th augment to be We need the Edge of Night augment, not today here, to be 4th augment, and then we're chilling. Where's the anomaly that gives you a 4th augment, but then you don't get anything? I'm down. I mean, in many cases, anomalies are kind of like a 4th augment, so I think I just, you know, recreated anomalies. All right, we have potentially, I mean, we have no heal cut, right? You have to decide here. I mean, you don't actually have to decide. You can go even shroud Morello. I mean, isn't that just the call here? TF has some amount of AoE. You could, if you're not that worried about even shroud, go for, you know, like a Nashers, but I imagine it's just even shroud Morello here. We'll see. We have no armor shroud at this point and no heal cut. So building these, yeah, these items actually worked out fantastically. He's gonna go for the Nashers. Wow, 0 cares about the armor shred here on this board, even though it's a lot of physical damage. That's interesting. All right, we'll see if the Nocturne goes down, but the Nocturne's never dying. Oh, he did die there. Okay, he did go low. Okay, it looked like he did not proc Edge of Night the second time. I'm not 100% sure because they were, you know, aggroed onto them and then kind of destroyed him instantly, but I don't think he dropped aggro the second time there. We'll see as a few more fights go on, but that would make more sense. It is a little bit sad for the Nocturne because, you know, obviously getting double Edge of Night procs would be really gross, but I mean, it makes sense. Maybe the thinking behind no even shroud is that, you know, like it's really just the Nocturne's damage and you know, we actually have a decent amount of magic damage on this board, and getting an extra item, here's like the big thing that I'm thinking about here. Getting an extra item onto this TF is really big. Yeah, I mean, look at our damage there. There's a large percentage of it that's AP. And so yeah, maybe the idea is just get another item onto TF that's actually going to be better. I guess we do still have the Piercing Lotus. That means that we don't have to build armor and a Marshret as much, but I mean, like, I think you still, I mean, I guess this idea here, okay, you know, the more I think about it, the combination of getting a 3rd item onto TF and the Piercing Lotus means that, yeah, this was always the slam, and there's no reason to make armor shred in this spot. I mean, it's solid. If he sees an even shroud on carousel after he gets to 3-item TF, that's got to be the pickup, or, you know, even an Ionic Spark at this point, but you wouldn't really want to lose the possibility of getting a TF item just to get shred when you're already getting a little bit from this other one. I'm surprised. Okay, he's gonna go Guard Breaker here over like an Archangels. I guess this is a pretty quick board. It does just a lot of damage very quickly. So this is one of the worst boards for Archangels just because we have very low front line. The idea behind this board is just to blow them away as quickly as possible. He's thinking about moving Guard Breaker maybe to somebody else, but I don't really see what you would swap it with. I guess like GS, but then like Guard Breaker Nocturne, it's probably fine. I kind of like it better on TF where he's throwing out those multiple cards. I don't know actually how it works with TF because like if he throws out 3 cards, like to some, yeah, like some, I guess, you know, there is like kind of a travel time on the cards. And so like, yeah, if the card that goes to his target procs it while the other card is like flying to biggest clump, then like, yeah, I assume that would proc Guard Breaker on the second one. It's kind of wild, but it makes sense. But okay, spot looking surprisingly good at this point, honestly. Pleasantly surprised by how this comp's doing. He's thinking about throwing a Mumu into the mix just because he fills out traits quite well. So hopefully we can pick that up. But getting some kind of automata definitely seems like the priority here. A pretty solid synergy for Nocturne. It's kind of crazy that we've kind of ignored it this entire game. But like, you know, what would you cut here? He really wanted to play that for Emissary. He really wanted to get that for Quickstriker in. We're gonna take a big loss here, actually, down to 2 HP. Ooh, against this Kog'Maw board, which I really want to do a VOD review this Kog'Maw board. We'll see. You know, if I'm quite certain that Kog'Maw is going to get nerfed, and there is actually an anomaly that's insanely broken with Kog'Maw. I think it's called Death by 1,000 Cuts, which is just like it basically like every time a unit deals damage, it gives them more damage against a target, which is just like really gross for Kog'Maw, who just goes spit, does infinite damage. We're rolling a bit here. I'm actually not sure what we're really rolling for because we've hit almost our entire board. I guess, yeah, just Ambessa 2, and now that we have that, that's what we got. Items are going to get moved over here. We didn't end up getting any kind of armor or MR shred here, so we're just going to have to move Deathblade QSS over to Garen. All right, we're kind of cooking here with these Garen items. How much damage did he end up doing? I'm 1500. Not bad from the Garen. So yeah, just some AD items onto Garen. And the idea is just, you know, moving slightly better items onto the Akali. I mean, I like this a lot. The Edge of Night GS looks really nice. Okay, now he's going to move the items over. QSS and the Deathblade going to go into Ambessa. Okay, this looks a lot better. And the Garen's actually going to get a TG, which rolled a Vow. This is fantastic for Garen. So yeah, this looks really good from an item standpoint. We're top 3 already here. We'll see how we do into this Draven board. Like I've said, Draven is just such a monster, even as a 1 cost. I feel like he punches above his weight class, but we're seeing, I mean, the Nocturne revives there, and that was actually huge. Everybody else has a ton of HP, actually, which is pretty hilarious. We're down to 2 HP, though this Nykthos player just took a ton of damage. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we've hit our entire board. All we can really do is bank up 50 gold, continue to stack HP, and then look at going level 9, which he's holding onto the Caitlyn right now as just a solid enforcer onto this board. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else you could really add. An enforcer is like fine, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know what else you could even add to this board. The level 9 is actually a bit awkward. Yeah, these Edge of Nights looking pretty solid though. Oh, that revive! That revive onto the Nocturne actually so clutch here. Man, this anomaly looks so good on this board. His clone actually ends up losing to the Kog'Maw board as well. All right, one more item off carousel for hopefully the Ambessa here. We have Spat open with, I mean, yeah, you could even just go, we have this Cloak open as well. We could go BT. I'm actually surprised he doesn't go BT there over Vow. I wonder if that's just he didn't think about the fact that he had Cloak open, but I would have certainly imagined that it was Vow. Are going to level here finally for Enforcer. He had actually to sell the Caitlyn and put in a worse unit, the Maddie here. But, you know, it's just to get Enforcer in, especially because we're fighting this really strong board. The big thing here is getting past the Firelight unit if we can. I'm like blanking on the name. It's something stupid like Scar. Yeah, I think it's Scar. But yeah, getting past Scar is really important. We didn't even get past Scar that fight, I would say. Like, that's the ideal, is to bypass Scar. But we went down the front door. We didn't even have to use the back door. We just went straight in, killed the Scar, and got there. Looking just to see if there's something better that maybe we can play on this board. I don't know. You can fit a Vi onto the board. He played for Enforcer. Okay, yeah, I mean, solid as well. Just a much better unit than the Maddie here. Makes sense. And ooh, was kind of a scary, actually it was never a scary fight. Honestly, are we winning this lobby? Ooh, we'd really like for the Kog'Maw player to die, I think. Just because it feels like that matchup should be kind of hard just because they have so much tanky frontline and we're very front to back, and also like the Kog'Maw gets so much time to ramp up with the front line. But maybe the idea is that our board is so fast with the attack speed that we get from everything that, you know, like maybe this is fine. All right, another 2 items. We're getting kind of item locked here. We don't really have any other units to itemize at this point. We can roll down, pick up a Vi to put items on at least. But yeah, this is a little rough here. I guess, yeah, we do have to itemize her. We still have the opportunity. Yeah, I imagine it's going to be an even shroud pickup here. Wow. Yeah, we didn't pick it up, right? He still would prefer just to go this QSS. Yeah, just 0 priority at all. I mean, this augment does give you a decent amount of shred. It's not like an insane amount, right? You're getting more out of something like even shroud, but he says, you know what, who cares about shred? I would rather just have a better item onto the Vi here, which, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's doing very well. You got to respect it. I think just completely ignoring shred did very well for him this game. You see some people when they have an augment like this, they still end up building a little bit of shred just to make sure. I mean, there's no a little bit. They build a shred item oftentimes, when you have an augment like this that gives you a little bit of shred, but he just says, you know what, who cares? I have close enough to the shred that even shroud's giving me, so why care? This fight looked pretty rough though. Can TF clutch it out? No, we just barely lose to Spencer's level 10 capped board. But a really cool game from Grea, playing a comp that I think a lot of people have almost no faith in. I think he took a cool augment, played into it, played around this cool new like Jeweled Lotus type augment that also meant that he didn't have to build shred the entire game. So it was a really fun game to watch, and I don't know, looks like a cool comp to potentially play on live. And he showed a cool version of it, this 4 Quickstriker 4 Emissary version. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check my Twitch. All my links down below. Thank you guys, as always, for watching.